All right. Are we ready? Let's give a big hand for Brittany Brocker!
Let's just get rid of that.
Yeah!
I'm Brittany, and I like to watch nature documentaries on Netflix. I also enjoy watching things that aren't nature documentaries on Netflix. And I like to be a little bit mysterious. For instance, the subject of my PhD research completely mystifies most people. To be fair, when I first started out, it mystified me too. I mean, my thesis title has the words conservation and genetics right in there next to each other. And as a classically trained ecologist, I used to think that geneticists were just boring weirdos who sat in the lab all day pipetting stuff and created chameleon-ized T-Rexes for Jurassic Park. As it turns out though, you shouldn't base an entire scientific discipline and judge them on a Spielberg movie from the 90s because it's not at all accurate. Because as it turns out, conservation can really gain a lot from genetics. I should know because I've now converted and I'm a conservation geneticist myself. Thank you. Yes, these days I'm an ecologist who also happens to have a favourite colour of nitrile lab glove, which is orange for the record. And I think that if you ask the species I work with, the quolls and the bettongs and the New Holland mice out at Mulligan's Flat, what they thought of my mystifying research, they'd be entirely positive. I mean, I help them maximise their adaptive potential. I help them reduce inbreeding, because even Game of Thrones fans are over incest these days. But not everyone shares that positive outlook. There are some people who still look at me like I'd rather cross a butterfly and a velociraptor than conserve Australian wildlife. And that's really hard. But I like to think that one very important person would be 100% appreciative and supportive of my work. And that person is the legendary David Attenborough. Yes, everyone loves Sir David, don't they? Yes, yes. And tonight's being filmed, and I thought it'd be really fun if we all gave him a shout out on 3. I want to hear "We love you, Sir David." 1 and 2 and 3. And
we love you, Sir David!
Thank you very much, because it's all part of my plan. I think it'd be really amazing if he saw that and got in touch with me. It'd be great to be able to chat about conservation genetics with someone who was totally supportive. Although there is one issue, and that's that I heard a few years ago now that he likes people to tell him jokes. And that has been giving me mild panic attacks ever since. The question of what joke I tell him has literally kept me awake at night. Because in my mind's eye, as I'm laying there, I see myself freeze mid-conversation and all of the blood drains out of my face and I forget every funny thing I've ever heard. And the first thing that comes out of my mouth in this dream is, I thought that the BBC's April Fool's documentary on flying penguins was a penguiner. Sir David has been a champion of the underappreciated for a long time. I never would have learned anything about South American titties if not for him. And they're a really cute monkey and you should look them up. But I hope he likes puns as much as he likes titties. Because that's all I seem to have to offer him. Thank you, Ben. The thing I love most about how Sir David works is that he manages to turn what most people think of as boring science into something really exciting that people want to watch. And I've been thinking about that a lot because I think I should be harnessing the era of the Netflix binge, harnessing his movie magic to make people excited about conservation genetics. And I think that this makes sense because I really can't see anyone sitting around to read my thesis entitled Understanding What Constitutes the Effective Use of Conservation Genetics in Reintroduction Biology. I just don't think it has mass appeal. But a Netflix documentary starring quolls, bettongs, or New Holland mice, my cute little mammals, is bound to be a hit, right? Yes. I know I'd be watching it. Yeah. I think if I focused in on the New Hollands, I'd be weaving the tale about Big Mama. She's one of the individuals in our conservation breeding program, and she really frustrated all the males in the colony because she wouldn't mate. And I can see Sir David getting right up in there presenting on her. She'd probably have him and a male. He would probably have her and a male in his hands. And he'd be talking about how sadly Big Mama wouldn't get it on with the males in the colony. And how she wouldn't contribute to the gene pool and her genetics would be lost to future generations. Thank you. If I didn't focus on the New Holland mice, I could go to the bettong and maybe do an April Fool's documentary a la BBC's Flying Penguins. And I can see it now. It'd be absolutely adorable with little CGI bettongs bouncing all over the place, and the camera would capture something extraordinary. We'd see bettongs up in the trees. They'd be building their nests up there rather than on the ground. They'd be running through the canopy rather than bouncing around in the tussocks at night. Be absolutely magnificent. But if I wanted to bring in a new demographic, I know what I'd do. I'd go to the Bachelorette Quoll edition. Obviously, Sir Dave would be my host. He'd be up there, theme music, introducing him. Tonight on the Quollette, Quincy is choosing from 3 strapping individuals. She'd step up there to give her final rose, selecting who she thought would be the male that would best improve her future family's genetic diversity. And it looks like Quincy has chosen Qualivar! Thank you. It would be high quality entertainment. I know. Even if I do sometimes dream of over-glamorizing conservation genetics, I enjoy what I do. I genuinely get to contribute to conservation and improve management of our threatened species, and I help make sure that all of our reintroduced species thrive well on into the future. And even though I'm probably not likely to get Big Mama and Quincy their Netflix debuts, I still think I'm penguining at life.